Senator Ben Cardin, let me first ask you about what's going on right now, the USMCA signing. Given your role, you must be pleased that this is finally coming to a conclusion.
Well, I think we're all pleased to see that this process is reaching its finality with the president signing the law passed by Congress. This is a good day. It's a good day. We've updated the North American Free Trade Agreement, our two closest partners, Mexico and Canada. It shows that we were able to get through this time and modernize our agreement, which I think is going to be good for our economy, good for Mexico's economy and Canada, and good for the global trading environment.
Now, Senator, the Senate is expected to vote Friday on whether witnesses should be heard from at the impeachment trial. I'm curious as to where you see votes landing right now. Will Democrats, for example, vote with one voice? What will the numbers show?
Well, I hope that all senators will allow us to bring in witnesses. We've heard no direct witnesses. There are fact witnesses that know exactly about the president's participation, and we have different arguments as to what the president did and didn't do. We should hear from those witnesses. They should be under oath and subject to cross-examination. That is a minimum for a fair trial. It's interesting that the Supreme Court in the Nixon case warned Congress or advised Congress that there are constitutional limits as to what constitutes a fair trial. And to me, if you don't have witnesses, how can you say that's a trial? If you don't have them under oath, you can't cross-examine. That's how you find out the truth.
Senator, would you expect there to be some sort of deal done, a quid pro quo, that if we were to see the Republicans being forced to provide witnesses, that actually we would also see the Democrats, maybe in the form of Hunter Biden, also being involved in this process?
There will be no quid pro quo, your witness for our witness. Any witness that the president wants to call, any witness that the House managers want to call that are relevant and can give us testimony that can help us make a determination should be allowed to testify under oath subject to cross-examination. Clearly, the four witnesses that Senator Schumer has asked for are clearly relevant. They have direct knowledge about what is in the articles of impeachment. I don't believe you can say the same in regards to what you've said in regards to Hunter Biden.
Senator, do you think your constituents are engaged with this process? Clearly, we are now in the run-up towards the Iowa caucuses. We are going to obviously go through a very, very detailed process of picking the Democrats' candidate to face the president. What kind of feedback are you getting as to what's happening on Capitol Hill within the Senate in terms of its reference to that process?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I go home every night to Baltimore where I live, so I interact with my constituency on a daily basis. And yes, they are following the impeachment trials. They are looking at how the trial itself is being conducted, and they're asking why witnesses are not being produced. And yes, they want me to carry out my constitutional responsibility, and that is to be an impartial juror in making a determination as to whether the president should be convicted and removed from office.
Senator, if there isn't a majority of senators voting for witnesses at this impeachment trial, do you imagine Chief Justice John Roberts would pick a side? Is it a constitutional question in his mind, or would it be too partisan?
Well, that's a great question. It's never been decided in the past. I think most of us believe that the Chief Justice wants to remain as an independent arbiter here, deciding only issues that require a determination from the bench, but not to decide an issue. We'll have to wait to see whether what he interprets his role. We could solve it for him by giving him direction as to what he should do. And we had one amendment that would have done that was offered before we started the presentations, and the Republicans rejected it. So we think we could utilize his expertise, but how active he would be on determinations is another story.
Senator, given that much of what witnesses will be saying, if they are indeed called, is already in the public domain or will be soon, what difference does it make if there are witnesses? Does it make a full impeachment conviction any more likely? Does it change the mathematics for 2020?
Well, we don't know until we know the truth. It was interesting that it was the White House counsel who said very clearly, you discover the truth by cross-examining witnesses under oath. So you can say a lot of things when you're not under oath. You can say a lot of things when people can't challenge what you say. And that's true for a lot of the people that we want to hear from. They may say things that will help the president. They may say things that are inconsistent. but under oath, they're much more likely to tell us the truth, particularly when they know they're subject to cross-examination and subject to perjury.
Senator, I do want to ask you about the Middle East plan that was rolled out yesterday by the administration. Broadly, something that can be worked from, or is it a waste of time?
Well, we all want to see peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis. We want to see two states living side by side in peace, a Jewish state and a Palestinian state. We want the parties to directly negotiate the terms of that peace. We know that unilateral action on one party versus the other will not lead to those types of constructive discussions. So there's question as to what the president has done, whether that will work just the opposite and make it more difficult for the parties to sit down and hammer out a peace agreement. That's our objective, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to make that a reality.